I'm sorry, live on YouTube. Okay. And today's topic, we have two topics. We're going to talk about the Supreme Court, and we're going to talk about this truck stuff. We're going to a whole bunch of other things that we're going to talk about. But I want to review some things.
What can?
So let me
Let
me just let everybody here know this is where we're live. If you could let everybody else and your friends know, that would be great. That we're live on YouTube right there.
How did I switch over to this? I don't even know how I got here on this one.
So we are live right now on YouTube, and Willie, we appreciate that. So I got an email, Willie, just today from Mr. Flanoy. Remember the guy who did the
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so he sent me an email, and I want to share it with you. Okay. So what it was I asked him to please put in writing what he believed he wrote from Star Wars and what he came up with. Now, the story last week, which is very interesting, we had a lot of people come on the air. A lot of people watched the video last week where this gentleman was 14 years old, and he purports, we can't confirm or deny it, but he purports that he wrote Star Wars as an assignment to his teacher who had connections in Hollywood. And his teacher literally took it. He didn't even hand it in. He went to the restroom. The teacher took it off his desk, sold it to somebody else who sold it to Lucas, and it is Star Wars. So I said to him, okay, we had a very emotional time last week, but let me just review. I asked him to review what did he come up with. So he said, listen, he sent me an email. He says, first of all, thank you so much for putting my name and reputation online. You know, he's so thankful for us, his and his sister. His idea originally was to make the movie Star Wars and to make some money off of it, you know. So here's some of his ideas that were in the original paper. For instance, Han Solo. Han Solo was mirrored after the Lone Ranger. Now, if you know the Lone Ranger, he had a sidekick. Remember, his sidekick was Tonto. Tonto was kind of a quiet person. So he made Wookiee like Tonto, but Wookiee didn't talk. As you know, the Wookiees never talk in Star Wars. They just kind of make noises, and they interpret the noises. He also had two friends that were twins. So he decided, let me come up with these twins, Luke and he said, what should I call the two names? So he went to the Bible. Matthew, no. Mark, no. Luke, John, Luke. So he came up with the name Luke, and he decided that his sister had to have the same name with an L, the same letter. So he called her Leah. Darth Vader was a derivative of the words dark villain. So dark villain, he named Darth Vader, he came up with. The Ewoks came from the Wizard of Oz, the dwarfs, but he put them in trees. So basically the Ewoks, that's what we remember, they were in trees. The rolling up of the city came from rolling up the sides of the walls in Western days. I'm not sure what that is. The lightsabers he got from the Bible again, because the swords of the sheriffs were wielding at the gates, blocking the gates of the Garden of Eden. He was going to call them light swords, and he said, nah, that doesn't sound that good. He came up with the name saber, lightsaber, and he really liked that. Jabba the Hutt also came from the Bible. It was a king in the Old Testament that was so fat that he was killed. Somebody stabbed him, but when he stabbed him, the knife got buried totally into his fat. It got swallowed up, so the knife was gone because he was so fat. So that's where he gained the name Jabba the Hutt. R2-D2 came from the filing system where he was working at Mount Vernon television station. So it's basically the rear drawer 2, the rear 2 drawer 2, rear 2. So it said R2-D2 was the designation of the rear drawer. And he said, okay, came up with R2-D2. The name Yoda came from a friend of his he was waiting to see his friend, and his friend was waiting at the stairwell, and he says, where are you? So he goes to the stairwell, he says, hey man, where you been? And his friend goes, yo, duh, I'm here. Yo, duh. It's just, wow, Yoda. That's where he got the name Yoda from. It's funny. So those are the things he purported last week. What did you think about last week, Willie and Ben? What did you think about that radio show?
I mean, I thought for myself, I thought that was very interesting. It was eye-opening on some situations, and I think what happened was the Holy Spirit, like I said, the Spirit took over, and I really believe that he understood, because Claudia was saying some fantastic stuff. You were saying some fantastic stuff. I was trying to say some things too also. I think he really understood that that you have to go on and keep moving and allowing God to work with you still on some other things. And I think it was great when you said you had known some individuals who was in Hollywood that you can make sure his book get printed, his information.
Make sure. I can't make sure, but I
not
can
make sure, but just assist him on helping him to get his stuff printed.
There's Tony. How you doing, Tony? Hey, Willie, you have any thoughts about last week and the guy who says he wrote Star Wars?
Oh, well, let me just say this. A lot of times we listen to people tell their story, and they're at different points in their life. And so, as you know, for the guy to come down in tears, it was like yesterday. I mean, to him.
Yeah.
And so he was really passionate about it. And so none of us really know what happened. But the fact of the matter that he was forthcoming, he was truthful in my opinion. But overall, I think that a little guidance, a little help for him, if he wrote that, which was a masterpiece, and he's writing some other things, I think that he'll still have that, maybe not the same, intensity of writing that, but he still have that genius level with his thinking and his writing ability, hopefully. So hopefully that he will be able to.
Willie, I hope he does. I want to let you know that last week's show and the show before it, The End of the World and The Father of Star Wars, was our two most watched shows on YouTube. The two most popular shows. So please go to YouTube. You can go on Willie's Facebook page and find a link there, but go to YouTube. It's Willie Saunders CFC, and you'll be able to find it and look at our videos. So we appreciate it. Now, I'd like to talk about tomorrow, if you don't mind, Willie.
Okay, absolutely.
Tomorrow we have a great guest speaker, TJ Hills. Listen, this is about breast cancer. Okay.
Wow.
Which is really a big topic. Did you know that 80% of the people, mostly women, because sometimes men get breast cancer, but 80%.
Yeah, my father-in-law had breast
men
cancer.
can't get it.
Yes.
80% have no family history. Okay.
Wow.
So it's something other than family history, because a lot of times you go to the doctor, they say, well, do your parents ever have cancer? What did they die of? They think it's related. There's no relationship here. And this is a cancer survivor. TJ Hills is a cancer survivor. Okay. I think they say one out of 9 people get breast cancer. It's a very high number. I think that's the number. And she was working in Wall Street, working in numbers, working with very big banks and stuff, full time. She didn't care about her health, and she got cancer. So she's a cancer survivor, almost died, and she came back from the dead. And now she's written a very interesting book called Sex, Drugs, Babies, and Breast Cancer. Sex, Drugs, Babies, and Breast Cancer. Health benefits of estrogen gene testing. That's a little bit of a tongue twister there, but basically she's going to share with men and women the things that we can do to make sure we don't get breast cancer. I think it's a very important meeting we're going to have tomorrow, interview with TJ Hill. So please join us. go to the Facebook page and go to our YouTube page. I see Dorsey is joining us now. Hello, Dorsey. So those are the two things I wanted to get out of the way. Remember, go to cfcpage.com, cfcpage.com. Please go there and donate. Give us a donation. Keep us on the air. Listen, we are in a very key demographic. Willie is. Willie's really the head of this thing, so I'm just helping him. But he's able to capture a very key demographic in this time and place in this country. And what it is mostly our listeners and our watchers are African Americans.
Yes.
Very important thing in today's culture. There's a lot going on regarding African Americans. One thing, Willie, I want to talk about, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'll just throw it out there. Biden has said, absolutely, the next Supreme Court justice is going to be an African-American woman. Yes. So, Willie, I want to hear your thoughts about that. You're on mute.
I would want to hear, my thoughts about that. Listen, here's the thing. And I guess on our next program, not this coming Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, we're going to have some different political people coming on with us, and we're going to probably get into it deep, but it's a big picture here. Now, in one respect, for him to say that I'm going to pick, it's got to be a Black woman. So that means no matter who's qualified for that position, if they're not a woman, need not apply. Okay.
Right.
Now that to me is kind of one-sided. Okay.
Yeah.
But now
would you say that's racist?
Sexist, maybe.
Well, I see Dr. Johnson shaking his head. Go ahead, Dr. Johnson.
He says,
I mean, my
not.
thing is, I'm not saying it's racist, but it's always been about Caucasians and other individuals over the period of time. We already know that. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is, it's about time that they add a Black woman to that. Now, is she qualified? Yes, he's gonna make sure they're qualified. I just think when we're dealing with a lot of information and CEOs that are getting hired, and when I look at sports, when they hire coaches and it's big, it's billionaire Black men that have money to buy teams, we always are left out of the situation. So what I'm trying to tie it all in, it's about time that we get to be in the ballpark. We get to be at the plate, and someone is allowing us to take a hit and hit the ball. So what I'm saying is they're giving us an opportunity to get in. And it's been so difficult in a lot of situations, from CEO and to other major corporations and running things, that they never thought we had the understanding, the mind to do them, to make judgments and sayings in things of that nature. So they thought only a certain group of people had that understanding to make judgments and good decisions, and it's not. And it has to be understand that women should have an opportunity as well as the men, and it's time for a Black woman to be appointed, because they have women and other nationalities that got appointed as well. So I'm looking at it in a personal situation. That's a great thing.
Let me jump in here. I understand what you're saying, and it's a two-tier situation, because one is, will she be able to perform?
Yes.
Under the stigma that says you got the job because you're Black.
Right.
That's something to tell somebody. Okay.
No.
Now, here's the other part of that.
Yes,
there's a part where no matter how qualified this woman is, which most likely should definitely be qualified, but the point is that stigma is going to follow her. You got the job because you were Black. Now, do I want them to pick somebody because they're of the color of their skin? Now, here's the problem. Here's the problem.
Yes.
Blacks have never had the power. Okay. We had a Black president, and you saw how they disrespected the Senate, how all of the Democrats that had a Democratic Black president, how they disrespected him as president. Okay,
called him all kind of names and stuff.
That's being pushed aside. Forget about that part. What I'm trying to say to you, that we never had a real part of the power. Okay, and so if they're going to allow or let or elect a Black woman in that high position, we as Blacks said, well, whatever means necessary, because we have not had any other power. We're not in power. We've never been in power. So therefore, you have a Black woman that's going to come in. That a black woman means a lot. But now, is that Black woman because they have lost the Black vote? And by doing this, you know, because you look at, man, our gas prices, you look at our food prices, you look at the real estate, you look at everything in the government from this administration has completely crumbled, has wrecked the United States. So therefore, the Blacks are sitting back and saying, wait a minute, I want everybody to make sure you tune into the next Wednesday show, because we're going to hit on that really hard. But
brother,
Blacks are saying, they're saying, you know, I mean, are they using this as a token to get Black people to come back to the Democratic Party? Because now I'm saying to myself, wow, you know, if they're going to give a Black woman a chance, you know, that may not be, that's a good thing. But are they doing that to make Black people come back to the Democratic Party? Because right now they're falling away like you wouldn't believe. But go ahead.
But what I'm saying, it's never been an equal playing field. So, Brother Willie, when it have never been an equal playing field, then now you try to make it equal. Now everybody has something to say about it. And that's the problem with society. No matter
how can you make it equal?
You
want to make it equal? You want to make it equal?
Okay, before he became president, he already said he was going to do this. But my thing is this: it's in every situation and norm in America, dealing with CEOs of company, dealing with owning football teams, any sports teams, we're never allowed to be at the table. Now, when you're allowed to be at the table, it's something wrong. You're Black. Everybody think they're high. Whatever means for these people to get in and to have an opportunity to show that they are talented and they are worthy of the position and they can make great decisions. It's always almost been told that we couldn't do all these things. That's why we're not hired. So now when we get hired, it's the problem.
One of the most educated and intelligent justice is Justice, what's his name? Thomas?
Clarence Thomas.
Yes.
Clarence Thomas.
Clarence Thomas. And he's right now, he's the smartest on the court. Black man. Okay. Now, a lot of Black people have a problem with him because of the fact you had a Black man that did 27 or 30 years of his life in jail. He got out of jail and he sued them because they falsely arrested him, falsely charged him, and convicted him wrongfully. He goes to court and said, you took away my life, you took away everything. He says, I don't have nothing. I'm just walking out of jail. I'm going to sue you. He goes and he sues them, and they, I don't know, for some 10 million, 5 million, 2 million, whatever it was.
Yes.
And they said, no, well, we're not going to give you this. And he took it to the highest court in the land. Judge Thomas made the decision. He can't get that. He said no. Even though he gave his life in prison wrongfully, he doesn't have the right to sue. That's when Judge Thomas fell out of the grace of most Blacks, especially with me.
Can I
because
ask you,
I'm a Black man.
Because you got the color of a Black skin, that don't mean you represent us. You don't represent.
There you go.
The justice.
So how is this woman
don't have
being
no color,
put to the court?
but justice don't have no color.
Woman, so does that mean this Black woman that's coming to the bench now is going to be a representative of the Black people?
But justice don't have color. That's what I'm trying to say. If you're sitting here telling the truth, and I'm Gary or Brother Willie, if it's truth, it's the truth. It shouldn't have a color of an individual skin. It should be the truth. You want somebody righteous in that position.
Now,
you want somebody to able to tell the truth in that position.
Now, Ben,
you want somebody
I see
uplift that you can
I
say
see
that.
Dorsey wants to make a comment here. Let me interrupt. Dorsey wants to say I just want to say something real quick. I'd like to see more Italians on the bench. You know, we've been underrepresented. I'll tell you.
Them Italians is known for something else.
Man. Woe is me. Anyway, Mr. Dorsey, you have a comment. Go ahead. Mr. Dorsey, you raised your hand. You wanted to say something.
You there?
I can't hear him, and I don't see his pitch. Oh, there he is.
I'm sorry for interrupting, Ben. You go on. Listen, I have a question for you, Ben.
Yes.
You believe that the Supreme Court justices are there to vote according to the law, according to the Constitution, or according to the party they represent?
They should be voting. I'm just saying for myself, if I'm looking at it, and I believe they should be voting because of the rights of the laws and the things that's going on. If you're just doing it for your party, we kind of living in a backward society, Gary. We should always do things in a righteous way, and that shouldn't even be Democrat.
Would you say, Ben, looking at the voting records of these Supreme Court justices, have they always voted the exact same way? I mean, it seems like, with the exception of which I don't understand this, it's really strange, of the judges that Republicans seem to put in switch all the time.
That's a whole show by itself, Gary.
Yeah, that is.
Show. Yeah. That's a lot. That's a deep subject.
That is a deep subject. When he said that, I never really looked at it, but that is true.
You know what? Do you follow fighting? Listen, we're going to have to go over the coach open level. If you follow fighting, boxing, you would know who I think it's Rayus, Joshua, is it Anthony Joshua from England?
Yeah.
Champ of the world, great fighter, and just a killer. He comes over to the United States. The person he was supposed to fight gets hurt, gets sick, and cannot fight. But they go to an underdog, a fighter, street fighter. He comes in, and everybody thought it was going to be a wash. It was just going to be nothing. And this guy beats this guy, which is monumental.
Like Rocky, the story like Rocky.
Yeah. It was just, and they still can't believe that this kid. But now here's what happened.
Rocky Italian.
This is my point. Here's what happened. This guy was such a fighter that he had Anthony Joshua could have never beat him, because he's a street fighter, dog fighter. Anthony Joshua is a straight fighter, good fighter. But this guy was hungry. This guy beats him. He makes world news. Okay, good. This guy wants his title back. He says, hey, Rayus, he's the champion now. Great, happy, the first Mexican champion. He's happy. Now, they put up for another fight, but he got $50 million for the first fight. He's never had money before. So he gets into an arena now where he has the car, he wants the house, he's helping his family, and he's comfortable. He didn't have the fight. Now the second fight comes, he loses. You know why he lost? Because he got into an arena where he was comfortable. He finally made it. He didn't have that killer. I'm going out to beat this guy because I want to be champ.
Hey,
he
Willie,
had the money.
If you gave me $20 million,
to people.
Well, if you gave me $20 million, I'd be comfortable too.
But once they get in office,
give me $5 right now.
They get in office, they get comfortable. I know mayors they were put out of office in disgrace because they seen them taking a bribe and that. And I'm saying, I knew this man when he's come up. I don't put him there. I mean, we went around, we worked for this guy to get him in office. We knew him. He was a real guy. But once he got in there for a while and understand and started seeing the perks and getting that life, he's not hungry anymore. He doesn't have that fire anymore. So now,
but Brother Willie, we can only use that in some cases because Tyson always had that fight. He had 20, 30 million. He was knocking people out. He didn't give a care. It just depends on the individual.
He just ended up broke anyway.
Yeah, he just, no matter what, he wanted to kill somebody. No matter how much money he had.
He was
I am so
amazing.
sorry, and I didn't mean to take up so much time. Listen,
No,
Gary,
this is your show, Willie. We love to hear from you.
Oh,
Good
okay,
stuff.
no, but anyway, I just want to say this. Listen, we're going to be going over to Coach Up at 3:30, and he's going to be bringing you some good things, letting you know what's happening with the young people, letting you know what he has prepared for us. And we'll come back in about 15, 20 minutes and finish out the broadcast.
All
So
right,
right
Willie,
now, I'm just
thank
going
you.
to thank,
I'm Willie going to make you the host.
and we thank Gary for doing all the things, putting us on all the platforms.
Yes,
out
thank
there.
Gary.
Big ups to
Thank you,
Gary.
Yeah, I
Oh,
tell you,
no,
Gary.
thank you all.
is
This is
one-
just fun. Listen,
Wow.
I spoke to somebody nationally. I can't mention his name. Known, who's considering coming on the show. So Willie knows the person.
Yes,
Can't
yes.
say on the name. It's
Yes.
just someone that everybody knows this person's name, almost
Yeah.
everybody in the country. So just pray that we're able to get this individual to be very interesting TV. Willie,
Right.
God bless you. Dorsey, Anthony, and
All
Ben,
right.
thank you. I got your number finally, Ben.
Hey, Christine is
Bye,
on.
Oh,
Okay.
where is she?
I've
Oh,
been
yeah. I
on.
can't see her.
I've been on, but my mic wasn't, and I didn't realize. But go ahead.
Oh, okay.
What do you think? I want to hear your opinion real quick before we go to
Well,
the next.
I mean, you know what? It should not. We should just be happy that there's going to be a female justice. And guess what happens? It's not that there isn't any qualified ones. There have been for a long time. It's just that they weren't selected. So now it's an opportunity to get one there. I don't care if there's an agenda for anyone else. I believe she's going to go there and she's going to do exceptionally well because it's the truth and it's justice. And that's what we're going to basically, that's what her decision should be
Boy,
on everything that comes
Claudine, you are definitely Pollyanna. You and
But
I
it
are
depends on
good.
where our heart is too. If our heart
No,
is at the right place.
exactly. You know,
Yeah.
if we're
I think
by
these people are
biblical
controlled.
principles, that's what we're going by.
Wait,
God will put
wait.
somebody there
Hey,
that's
hey,
gonna-
Willie,
Because-
Willie,
Yeah.
if I'm sorry, if you give me back the host, I can reset the YouTube and call it a new name.
Okay.
What
Okay.
would you want me to call it this time? Just make me the host and just think about it.
Okay. Let me find you. Okay. How do I do this again? Right now, we're gonna go right over to our. Okay, I got you, Gary. Wait a minute, Willie, Gary. Let me get this right. Okay.
And what do you want me to call them? What are they? What are they? These who?
Okay. Wait a minute. Make host. Okay. Well, what's a good name? You guys help me out.
Who
For
are these
today,
people?
for tomorrow's show?
No, right
Today's
now.
show.
Today's show.
For today's.
Right now, we got some guests coming on.
I don't
That's
know.
What
right.
is it?
Justice.
Justice.
No, but
Okay.
there's some people coming on. Who's coming on? Willie,
Yeah,
who-
who's it?
Who's coming
Oh,
on?
tomorrow? I don't know.
Mr. Dorsey's on. Listen, we're all just on today to just give.
But anyway, let me just switch over to our Dr. Johnson so he can get on with Coach Up. But whatever you want.
I'm going to call it
This
Coach
guy.
Up. OUP Coach Up.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'll call it. Okay,
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead, Willie. I'm going to start and restart the YouTube. Go ahead.